we kind of talked a little bit about history in the atrium and Barry's office and stuff, but we typically, again, company was founded in 1901 in Evansville, Indiana with furniture polish. They moved to Pasadena, California in 1913. So that was kind of probably quite the adventure. Back then you can't just fly out here and go check it out, but no real reason why they moved into that area business-wise, but luckily it actually put the company right next to some of the older coach builders were up in that Pasadena, California area. Bowman and Schwartz. These are some old pictures. The name of the company was Mirror Manufacturing Company for a while before it was Meguiar's. Some of the older cars, so we saw that picture. Kind of fun history. It's take this for granted working here. I know I do. There's so many stories that could be shared on all these years. One of my favorites, you know, old salesman story. They would load up a train car with product and then ship it via train to like Detroit. The salesman would drive there and he couldn't come home until all the product was sold in the area. Old school stuff like that. Some older pictures, some manufacturing. And then now into present day, we have partners in distribution in over 90 countries. And then here we have this building and then the building across the street, which we just checked out. You know, this is pretty much everything except for manufacturing and warehouse, which is in Tennessee and Atlanta. Any questions on history or product lines? So getting into the product lines, we didn't quote unquote have a consumer product until 1973. We were in the commercial pro business, so supplying to, you know, body shops, paint shops and dealerships, and into today it's car washes. This is our whole pro Mirror Glaze line. Is the oldest.
So Mirror Glaze is primarily abrasives?
So it's going to be cleaners, primarily abrasives, but yeah, sandpapers, cleaners, compounds, polishes, but there is some waxes in there as well. But primarily cleaners and compounds and polishes. And there's a big selection. There's a lot of different environments within the whole kind of pro side of the business. You have guys and technicians that are working on OEM cured paint or fresh paint. We can kind of design and you know, tweak these products if they're using a foam pad, if they're using a rotary, if they're using a DA. There's a lot of different variables which you can put into a product to design it for a very specific application in the pro environment. So that's kind of why there's a lot of products. We kind of call it the mechanics toolbox. So that's professional mirror glaze. And then to complement the mirror glaze, which again is primarily paint care, we have our professional detailer line, which is, you know, glass cleaner, you know, all-purpose cleaners, car washes. You know, these are concentrates or ready to use.
So I didn't realize, I didn't even think about it, that Mirror Glaze and Detailer, I didn't realize were a separate product line.
Yeah.
Complementary product line. So so Marcus is responsible for this line, the Detailer line. Is he also Mirror Glaze? Or
Yes.
Is that okay.
Yep. Yeah, they're both considered pro. And then, you know, this is a lot of cleaners, but there is some specific systems in here for detailers as well, like the DA microfiber correction system, ultra polishing waxes, paint care as well. You know, we saw the metering system. The metering system's used a lot. I mean, there's reconditioning shops that do 300 cars in a day and literally have this stuff plumbed through the ceiling down into metering systems to go into their bottle. So just the lines in overview. This slide, we at one time or another, we have worked directly with all these OEM auto manufacturers and paint companies as well throughout all these years. Again, we could spend a few hours talking about pretty cool stories within this. When the Lexus brand was brought over here, we worked with them to create a SOP because they were really concerned about the appearance of the cars. Fun stuff. This I thought you might like. and even more recently, we're working direct with Porsche North America. They call it Clean Car Initiative, and we're working with their dealers to train their techs on a few different steps for prepping every Porsche that is getting ready to be sold. So the products and process has all been approved by Porsche North America engineers. It mainly focuses on wheels and tires, washing, drying, kind of basic stuff for newer cars, interior, exterior. Have you ever been to Monterey and done the whole Pebble Beach week?
No.
Up there, the concours, or it's
I'm supposed to go this year.
yeah. Well, we've been involved with that forever, but not this past year, but a couple of years back, we worked with Ferrari. This is kind of a cool, quick video. We had like a wipe down kind of station. Ferrari rented a estate basically and did a hospitality event. If you own a Ferrari, you can basically go to this estate during the Monterey week and check out all kinds of Ferrari stuff. There's a couple, kind of just some fun examples of things that we do on the pro side of the business that not a lot of people know about. Pretty fun to work and take care of the cars and do stuff like this.
So this is what's interesting to me, the different lines.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of them, right? How many are there?
Consumer, Pro Mirror Glaze, Pro Detailer, and then Marine and RV.
Okay, and then there's subcategories inside of. So this would be consumer stuff.
Yep. So introduced in '73 with cleaner wax, and these, when they're on the store in an auto parts store, it has to just work on a variety of paints. It's got to work by hand or DA. These are not rotary approved as far as the design side of things. They're very user friendly. This is every category. You get subcategory, car washes and clay bar kits, compounds, scratch removers, polishes, waxes, everything you could think of. This is our biggest line. And kind of what happens is, as we kind of innovate and progress throughout the years, it's funny, in this industry, people find something and they like and stick with it. We're still going to continue to kind of try to raise the bar and push technology. But what happens is they, for example, Gold Class, and we went to Next Generation and Ultimate. Those products that we've had 20 years ago on the shelf, people still know and love, and they still, so we still make it, even though we're still innovating. Marine and RV is boats and in RVs. Gel coat and fiberglass is much thicker and harder and more porous. So these are not necessarily just automotive products in a blue bottle. There's a lot of design that goes into this to make it a better experience for the differences in that material. So this is our Marine and RV line. It was introduced in the 1950s. So this is where we can get into more specific products with the Detailer line, starting with car wash solutions, a few different options. And again, going back to that, there's very specific needs within the pro business. Like this soap rinses very fast off the car, where literally seconds are factored into their efficiency. Hyper Wash is a 400-to-1 hyper concentrated product, where all of our other washes are 128-to-1.
Okay, so what is Hyper Wash based off? Is it based off of Super Soap, or is it a completely different formula?
Different. Yep, these are all completely different and not based off each other.
So it's just not a concentrated version of something else?
No.
So Super Soap's claim to fame is easier to deal with.
Super quick rinsing.
A lot less residue, less soap residue left over.
Yep.
What's Hyper Wash's deal?
Is the hyper concentrate, is the large hyper concentrated.
All these pH neutral?
Yep. So every single wash that we make is pH balanced.
So D111 has a sealant in it.
It doesn't have actual protective qualities to it or waxes. It utilizes conditioning sort of polymers to assist in lubricity, but it doesn't actually provide protection.
Okay.
So that's kind of its claim to fame. You're getting into a more premium option within the Detailer line. And then the Citrus Blast Wash and Wax, a newer product, has actual wax, dispersed wax technology within the product.
Yeah, I'm usually
we
not.
consider the most.
I usually like my soap to do my soap.
It's
that's a
totally
preference thing, but
it's totally a preference.
So, which one of these, from your experience, which one foams the best in like a foam cannon?
The Shampoo Plus, and that's the thing is that at this time we don't have a soap that is designed to be used in a foam cannon. They all happen to work really well.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I want to use the same soap in my bucket that I'm using on the foam cannon. And so your choice would be D111.
For in a foam gun. Yep, Shampoo Plus, and that's actually my personal go-to wash. Is that product? Yeah, it's really has a lot of lubricity to it, but it rinses off pretty quick. It's easy to work with.
All of these are available in what sizes?
Gallon, 5 gallon, and then that's it. No 55s for these, but there are some products that is a big drum of 55 gallon. Yeah.
And those are the 4 soaps in the Detailer line.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yep. One thing about that I see a lot in the years that I've been here, as far as like when you're diluting a car wash, a lot of people do like call the glug method, where they pour some in the bottom of the bucket, they blast it with a pressure washer, and you got a bunch of foam and suds, and you end up with about this much water. We prefer to actually fill the water up first. If you're gonna do a standard 2 bucket wash, where you're actually diluting it in the bucket, if you fill the water up first and then pour the solution in there, you don't end up with a big bucket of just foam. It actually properly mixes it, because foam is certainly helpful, but it's not everything when it comes to washing.
Sure.
Cleaners and degreasers. So this has been a standard for a long time, our D101 all-purpose cleaner. I'm not sure if you've ever used it, but if you're ever trying to, if you're gonna buy like your M3 or something, and or a used car, and you're trying to recondition any interior surface, this is a great product to just ensure that like everything is completely clean. Your dash, door panels, it can be used on leather and especially carpets as well. It's got optical brighteners and fabric softeners within the formula.
So that product, you would change dilution depending on like your carpets. You probably want to use it straight up.
It's 10 to 1.
10 to 1?
And
Okay.
10 to 1 and 4 to 1 are the 2 recommended.
Okay.
Citrus Power Cleaner is a newer product for last year, similar to APC, but this is a lower foaming solvent-free option if you're wanting to use like an air tool or an extractor. That's a big claim to fame, because this in an extractor, or it's gonna foam and plug up the pump, and so if you're using an extractor or air tool, it's recommended to go with a lower foaming solvent-free option. Marcus worked on that one.
So what do you'd use that on engine bay, or is that not strong enough?
This is
it
more
interior specific.
This is more interior.
Okay.
Yep. So if you're just dealing with embedded grime on most hard surfaces on an interior and carpet, especially carpet and upholstery, too, that these are used on. And then degreaser is more for your engine, if you're dealing with grease, like an engine bay.
So D108 is probably the most popular use for all things. Degreasing, like wheel wells,
Yep.
engine bays.
Yep. Undercarriage and
Got it.
stuff. Yep.
Dilution, same 4 to 1, 10 to
Yep.
1 type.
Yep.
You can kind of play with dilutions depending on the application. Using it straight up, not recommended.
Not recommended. I'm sure people will do it if they run into something that's
Nasty.
yeah. But it's pretty fast acting at the concentrated recommendation.
So 3 types of degreasers. Now we have.
Yeah, we talked a
wheel
little
cleaners.
bit about wheel cleaners, but wheel brightener is your acid base, and then non-acid wheel and tire is going to be more high alkaline. So there's a couple different characteristic differences in application with those. Wheel brightener tends to work quicker when you spray it directly on the wheel, and you can more oftentimes get away with no agitation with the wheel brightener. This is for factory clear coated or factory painted in chrome wheels.
But you need to manage that because it's acid based, so you don't just spray it on, and you could screw something up with that.
Wheel cleaners is one of those things that you can screw something up. Really, it should always be completely cool to the touch, one wheel at a time from start to finish, and then rinsing it off within the recommended dwell time, which is about 30 seconds or so for these. The 143 takes a little bit more dwell time and typically requires a little bit more agitation. But what's cool about this is this cleans the tires extremely well in addition to the wheels. And then we talked wheel and paint iron decon. This is that versatile product for wheels and paint that has that color changing and iron decontamination ability.
And you would use 143 on rubber, tires and rubber.
It cleans the tires. It's a higher alkaline. It does a really good job to clean tires. The brown just drips right off. It's pretty impressive. So in an environment, saves some time in an environment if you're doing high production type stuff, or you just prefer to have a 2-in-1.
So you have acidic, alkaline, and then neutral.
Yep.
The neutral has the iron removing property to it.
Yeah. And because the neutral, that's certainly going to be the safest option, but it also has really, really great cleaning ability in it as well. So this is kind of the most premium. You're getting premium performance and having the neutral product. You're getting the cleaning performance of these in that neutral option. Glass cleaner, this is a 10-to-1 typically concentrate, so a little bit goes a long way. It's not a whole lot to say about. Pretty consistent as far as streak free. This is a newer consumer product actually, but I just kind of put it in here because I think that if we have time, give this one a try. There are some benefits to having an aerosol foaming glass cleaner. That's our new Perfect Clarity in the aerosol. Yeah, and a lot of these products, they're not the most technically, necessarily fun to talk about. I mean, these are workhorse items when you're detailing a car that, obviously the paint compounds and running a machine is going to be the most fun, but this is kind of what the detailer line is all about. So here's your dressings and conditioners. Hyper dressing you're familiar with. This big claim to fame on this is its dilutability. Not sure if that's a word, but you can dilute it up to 4-to-1 for variables in shine, and it's a water-based option. This can be used interior and exterior. Most like UNS would primarily probably use it on exterior tires. Is that what you typically use it for?
I typically use it on engine bay and then on like rhino lined, like the wheel wells or the truck bed. And I use it as a spray on, walk away, let it dry on its own thing. Yeah, and
I'm glad you brought that up because this really does do well at that spray engine bay, walk away, and it's all even and dressed.
And then you may have a few little leftover puddles of water, a week later you wipe off, but other than that, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, so great product. The all season is going to be a solvent based, exterior only.
Shinier.
And longer lasting.
Okay.
So like for example, a dealership that's washing a car every single day. You can run all season on there and it's not going to come off when you wash the car. And then silicone free is for body shop environments where silicone is an issue. So there's no reason for a detailer or an enthusiast to have this product really. That's just straight for body shop environments because you can't have silicone in that environment. Paint maintenance, few options here. Last Touch Spray Detailer is in a quick detailer, spray detailer category. You can use it for removal of light dust. It works great as a drying aid. I know your process a little bit, like if you're in a situation where you want to use a drying aid that does not have protection in it, this is kind of a good option for that.
What about using that as like, because one of the things I hate doing is so after I decon the car, I would want a drying aid, but I don't want to leave anything behind.
Right.
Is it literally devoid of leaving stuff behind?
It's not completely devoid, but it's very minimal. It has a little bit of gloss enhancers in there and silicone, but compared to like a polymer, like these would leave, that's going to come off extremely easy. We do have another product in the Mirror Glaze line, our final inspection, that does not is completely leaves nothing behind.
That might be a good solution then.
It doesn't have as much lubricity as this though.
We'll have to test it out.
So yeah,
I've been looking for something like that because using using IPA or something is when I'm drying. I don't know. We'll have to look at that.
And then as a clay bar lubricant as well, this stuff is great. You can dilute it 1-to-1 for use as a clay bar lubricant, and it works great for that. And it's like $20 a gallon or something. D115 rinse free. This is a waterless wash product. It's
Is that new?
Newer. Yeah. It's a newer product. This was based off our consumer ultimate wash and wax anywhere. We had a little bit of demand to have it in a larger size, so we ended up coming out with it. It is a 4-to-1 concentrate. Really great cleaning and lubricating ability, but really potent gloss and polymers in here for some truly good added protection and gloss.
So you'd use that maybe like you get a bird dropping or something on the car, you'd use that to clean it up?
Yeah, and there are a lot of people that, even me personally, now, a lot of people, when you talk about the waterless wash category, we talk about it all the time, people immediately are like, you want me to spray this product directly on a dirty car and then not rinse it and take a towel? The combination of the design of the product, high quality towels, and good technique, I mean, we would not come out with this product if you could not safely wash the car in a waterless manner without.
See, like I don't recommend or use detail sprays. Right?
Yeah.
If I'm going to do any kind of where I would do a wipe down, I would use a product like that instead. Use a waterless wash that has more encapsulation capability than just a detail spray, which is much more superficial.
And we would, and that's more of a preference thing, and we would just consider that. We consider this a more, because it's more expensive than a detail spray. We've used detail sprays. We only recommend them for light dust fingerprints. Anything beyond that, traditional wash or waterless. It comes back to preference. But this one is pretty popular. It's one of my favorites. We use it out here. We have a 5-gallon mixed up of it, and it's what we use to wipe stuff down around here. And then the 156 Synthetic Express Spray Wax is a dedicated spray wax which should be used on a clean car. This doesn't have any dust or grime.
Yeah, I've used that for many years as a drying aid.
Totally. You could use it wet or dry. It's a matter of preference. Works great as a drying aid, and this stuff really has some potent synthetic polymer protection. And gloss enhancers in there. I mean, it's leaving quite a bit behind. It doesn't have, this is an older product, it doesn't have any higher level technology, SiO2 or anything like that, but it's a pretty good stuff. I mean, the gloss is pretty impressive on this too. That's the same exact product as our Ultimate Quick Wax in the consumer line. So that is one example that it is the same.
You don't dilute that, use it straight up.
That one's ready to use. Some more interior care stuff. Have you ever used Quick Interior?
No, I'd like
Detail
to try,
cleaner?
I'd like to try that.
So,
What is it? Does it leave a matte looking?
Stock, original, zero shine, and in a lot of cases that's certainly desirable.
Yeah.
And this is one of a few select products that we actually approved for use to clean interior audio and clear plastics. Like your actual, fingerprints on your dash and navigation screens and stuff like that. So that's another kind of big feature of that. But any hard interior surface, including leather, it's a quick detailer for your interior. Really light cleaning, zero residue, zero shine, stock matte. So it's a great one to have kind of in your toolbox. And then when you need to go a little bit stronger, this is a dedicated leather cleaner. Compared to using like an APC on leather, as opposed to this is the guys in the lab designed this specific for leather to be effective, and so it's a little bit kind of more premium option. Great product, cleans minimal without a lot of agitation. It's safe for regular maintenance, but it also cleans pretty well too when you need it. And then this is a thick lotion style conditioner that's been around for a long time. Mild cleaning, but mainly a conditioner. Zero residue, stock, low sheen, original appearance. So every single one of Meguiar's interior products, when used properly, all completely dry to the touch and are not greasy. Every single one of them across the line.
I have to try some of those. I've never tried any of that stuff.
I know you don't really get into interior. Or really have to,
It's top of mind now because I'm going to come out with an interior package here in short order.
So these some good options. A little bit about paint care. This is our ultra polishing wax. So moving over to paint care talk a little bit. There's a couple different ways to approach paint care. We always talk, okay, what are your goals for the car and your expectations? How much time do you have? You can pretty much use an all-in-one or a cleaner wax, or do a multi-step approach if you're trying to get the best results. Obviously, the multi-step for the best results is going to be recommended, but for those situations where you want a cleaner wax, which there are a lot of in the pro side, not everyone wants a perfectly swirl-free paint finish. They're more concerned about gloss and protection and minimal cleaning. So this particular one has a lot of defect removal ability to it. It's cleaner wax, but also finishes out extremely well and has really good durability as well.
Designed for machine or hand?
Yep, machine. Yeah, you can use it by hand, but it's definitely DA or rotary. You can run this up to a cutting pad on a DA even, and especially on like a lighter colored car. You can. This is a pretty cool one step.
So you would one step this?
Yeah. So you would wash, decon if you have the ability to clay, and then run this, and you're done.
And you could top that with regular like D156 or any kind of regular carnauba based wax.
Totally. This is our professional carpet upholstery cleaning system. We could spend probably, the training for this is about 3 hours or so just on this system, on different types of stains and how they can be addressed. So this system combined with a dedicated APC, you could address probably about 95% of any stain you would ever encounter, whether it's a protein stain or an acidic stain, wine or tea or coffee. This system, a lot of people don't know about. It works really well. So, but maybe another day,
That's
D106, the Pro Fiber Rinse and Tannin Stain Remover. So this is going to be a dual functioning product that's ready to use for addressing tannin stains.
So are you going to use like a carpet brush and a spray bottle?
So there's a couple different techniques when you're doing stain removal. We typically will use what we call a tamping method, where you get like an actual premium cotton terry cloth. You spray your product onto the stain. You lay the towel over the stain, and then you take a stiff carpet brush and you literally tamp into the stain. That's been used in the industry for a while, more on like the home cleaning side of stain removal out of carpet. And then we also recommend what we call the bonnet method, which is where you take a carpet brush and you wrap your towel over the fibers of the brush, and you use that to pull up the stain into the actual material of the towel.
And then depending on
Yeah.
what you stained it with, on
Yeah.
which one you would use.
Yep. And if you don't know, because a lot of times you won't know what the stain is,
Right.
you always want to go in with the 106 first,
Mm-hmm.
because you potentially could set the stain in to where it's very difficult to get out with an APC.
So these two,
Yeah.
and then D101 or the other one?
Or Citrus Power Cleaner Plus. Yep.
That was D150.
07 is the Citrus Power Cleaner Plus. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they were next to each other. There was a green
Yep.
one and an orange one.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, so these two combined with that, you got a pretty solid interior package. If there's other weird things, like if you're removing a crayon or gum, or mustard, or there's a few of that remaining 5% where there's some off-the-wall household things that are needed.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, someday maybe we'll get into that
Yep.
in detail.
yeah, it's a fun one. It's pretty interesting.
When I run out of stuff to do, then we can worry about cleaning up stains.
Right. Couple other solutions. This I would love. Have you ever tried the plastic and vinyl coating in the aerosol? This stuff is so great if you're trying to do like a cowling on a car, or a rubber trim, or little tiny areas on the exterior like rubber or colored plastic.
Mhm.
You could aerosol spray, flashes and dries, and it wipes off paint super easily. I would use it all the time on like the cowl. That's one of my pet peeves, is like the cowling
You always want
area.
it to be black.
Totally.
So
Totally.
you would, but this isn't like a long lasting, this is like every other wash type thing?
Yep. We have other options for exterior trim for like semi-permanent
Yeah.
options, but for quick and easy, this is pretty cool stuff. And then this is a good option just for general cleaning, or like let's say you go through and do the whole pro carpet upholstery cleaning system on an older car that you need to restore or what have you. This is good to kind of do general maintenance in the future on that. And it's a foamy aerosol cleaner. Metering systems. So they sell the low flow, which is going to be for your 10 to 1s and 4 to 1s or 20 to 1s. The high flow, which is your primarily car wash solution, like a 128 to 1 or 400 to 1. There's little tubes and different tips in there, which does that. And then obviously the DMS 6000 is has both. This I thought we would grab off the shelf.
I'm very familiar with this.
Yeah.
This
In the liquids too?
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
my foray into microfiber polish
Yeah.
in probably 2010.
Yep.
Right around the time it came out.
You're right on.
Yeah.
You're right on, because I started here in 2010, and this is when the system came out.
This is
Yep.
a Jason Rose and Mike Stoops thing, isn't it? This is a
Jason was a big.
involved in it. Yeah.
He was pretty much the lead on the system, to my knowledge, and at the time, and still to this day, it was the longest development for a system. It took over 4 years, and who knows how many hundreds of different iterations of, especially the microfiber pads. So the kind of rationale and behind this whole system was to bridge a gap. You basically at that time had, you can do a certain amount of correction with a DA, and then you had to
Like
jump
a
to
rotary.
rotary.
Yeah,
in
rotary
a lot of
rule.
cases. Yeah. This was really designed for high production reconditioning environments, as detail shops and detailers, as a system. We did release it as a system. It still technically is a system. So you would wash clay and then do your microfiber
Cutting,
correction compound along with the cutting disc.
Yeah.
This was very new back then. We had to educate everyone on how it's very important to prime, which is, we all do that now, to prime all the fingers of this disc. But basically, microfiber grabs and holds onto things very well. We think of it as being soft and fluffy for wiping off your products that are on your paint, but when you use microfiber to apply products, this combined with the abrasive and design of this compound, I mean, you're supercharging your cutting ability with this system or any compound now that you use on this. The size of the diameter plays into how much cut you're going to get. The density of the foam, to my knowledge, this foam took so long to get right. They really fine-tuned it.
I think it's still unrivaled even to this day. Like I have every microfiber cutting pad on the market.
Yep.
And this is it. It's
Yep.
the one.
Yep.
Yeah, the hook and loop. You know the
Yep. This is a micro hook and loop, so that plays into the performance. It's this compound. The initial step in the system. This is not quite as aggressive as a 105 or 101 or any of the Mirror Glaze compounds. It's a significant step down, but this is really tuned very specific for this disc.
Yeah, I've always found it too. It doesn't dust a lot.
It's unbelievable.
It wipes off okay,
dust, yeah.
but it just you can tell that it was made from microfiber.
Yep.
I still grab that occasionally, off the shelf.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you said everything right. I mean, it's a rich, once you get the pad primed, it's a few pea-sized drops on there. Low dusting, you said everything that it has. Yeah, so again, back to that original system, it was designed as a 1-2 punch, wash clay, come in, do your correction ability. I mean, you're getting rotary-like cut with this combination, but with the safety and ease of use of a DA. And then this is the DA microfiber finishing wax with the finishing disc. This comes in, refines the paint, removes your DA haze, brings up a high gloss, and adds wax in one step, and you're out the door. So that was that is the design around the system as a whole. So that is with the finishing disc. If you were to compare this to like a foam pad, like our yellow foam polishing pad, in general, this is a step above the yellow foam in aggressiveness.
Yeah.
But to your point, this one is not used outside of the system as much. There are some situations where we see it used where you want that cut of the microfiber, but you want the flexibility of the thicker foam. So that's where we end up seeing it used when it's outside of the system. It's available in 6, 5, and 3. You brought the 3s back.
I guess
they were gone.
the microfiber in the finishing disc is not as aggressive.
Correct.
It's not just the thicker backing plate, it's also the fibers. The fibers are different.
Yep. Yeah, extremely different. The material's extremely different on the fibers themselves. Completely different and tuned specific more for refining and finishing out the paint.
So what's that other polish you have there?
So this is, once this system was launched, we got some feedback that on more sensitive paints, there were users this was not completely removing the haze. So this, to their satisfaction at least. So this is the DA microfiber polish, and this is essentially now can be used as an intermediate step to further assist in haze removal on a more sensitive, darker color paint typically. And
then depending on the paint system, you could use it with the cutting pad or the finishing pad.
This one would just be on the finishing typically.
And then where did extra cut come in?
The extra cut was also an addition to, and that basically we really drive a lot from feedback, and we had a lot that look, I'd like to get even more cut out of this system, especially people that are really big into the system.
So extra cut came about as a way to supercharge D300.
Yep. And it delivers, they say, about 35% more cut than the standard DA microfiber cutting disc.
And it's just a difference in fiber.
It's actually, I think it's the same fiber. It's just no foam in there. I'll have to grab one out of the cabinet. I don't have one out here, but it's literally just
no interface.
No interface. Yeah. So primarily for flat panels.
Yeah.
On This one is obviously all around, but
Yeah.
the extra cut, which I don't have out here.
Well,
It's
because since
primarily
this
flat
system,
panels, yeah.
we've then guys started grabbing rotary stuff and using it on these pads, and we found out it works.
Yeah, totally. You said it exactly right. 105, 101, 100. You know, we can talk about those compounds in a minute. A couple different ways that you can use components in this system, like especially, you know, back in the day, like when this came out, a lot of guys, what they were doing is they were using this combination for their correction and cutting, and then going maybe to like a 205 on a yellow foam.
Right.
And then going to your more premium full synthetic sealant or coating or what have you. So that's kind of a little bit about the DA microfiber correction system.
So that system is why we have microfiber today.
Yeah.
Everybody has microfiber today.
Well, we weren't the first to have a microfiber specific disc, I believe. If I think back years ago, we weren't the first. We didn't invent a microfiber disc. We were the first to have a complete system around there. But we certainly put it through its paces in development, and over the years, it's everything in our line is we consider constantly evolving if needed. There's been changes in throughout the years to these to even improve on them, like the microfiber material has been improved over the years on the finishing. So, but it's still to this day, even though it was released long ago, it's still a workhorse in so many people's hands. Even on long throw tools, it's super popular. You know.
Yeah.
So next we have stepping into the professional mirror glaze line.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So this is the fun stuff. Focuses on paint care. This is kind of a little slide just to show a little bit of evolution on the DA polishing side of things. A lot of people don't know that we were the first to use a foam pad, believe it or not, in 1965. This was the Meguiars. They call it the Woolless Wonder. We'll have to pull that out of the cabinet. We actually still have one. It's all deteriorated and stuff, but kind of DA polishing throughout the years, and then into we've been using the benefits of a random orbital dual action since the 90s. This is Meguiar's NT300. Been out for 4 or 5 years or so now. So we really focused on a few things with this machine. When it comes to the whole machine market, we're not necessarily a tool manufacturer, but we have been in the tool game and had our own tool for many years. This is our latest option. So these are kind of some of the features that we focused on this machine, along with the pads that were designed around this system as well. When you're trying to maximize cut as well as finish ability on a random orbital DA, it's really all about pad rotation, so we really focused on torque with this machine. You can put some pressure down and it's not going to bog down and stall and essentially not perform for cutting or finishing for that rotation. So this is more what we call a standard stroke machine, and as far as a universal throw amount, it's a standard 8mm. What's cool about this machine is that because we focused on the torque, even though it is a smaller throw, it still cuts pretty well. It's not going to cut quite as quickly as a long throw DA, but it still holds its own for being an 8mm. And then it's pretty versatile as well, because you can throw a 3-inch backing plate and run little 3-inch DA microfiber pads if you're doing little spot repair, you want to increase cut or headlights and things like that. So, and then these are our low profile soft buff foam discs. And again, these we really, when you have a thin disc design like this, you're really going to get a really efficient pad rotation. I mean, we kind of take this for granted now because this was years ago where this was kind of up and coming. But when this came out, it dramatically changed things for us. We were getting much more efficient rotation. So dedicated foam cutting disc, yellow polishing, and then black finishing. So these come in both 5 and 6 inch.
Should these work on the long throw machines?
Yeah, I mean, they do work on the long throw machines.
But they're designed for a typical 8mm orbit.
Marcus, do you want to, chime in on that?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, if you put them on a longer throw, put them on a 15 or a 21. I've gone to some detail shops where these guys, typically are running the pads that maybe come with a root pads or a flex, and they've never even tried these on it. And I said, just try it, just for fun. And they're like, whoa, that's so smooth, because you have less of the pad twist. Dylan's talked about that, right? That said, there's more to the designing a pad. It was designed at the time for short throw. Some of the pads that are purpose built for long throw, some companies will do separate pads for short and long throw. Some do one. They may go with a firmer foam that resists the pull and the action and the further throw. So it depends what you're doing, what product you're using, but they certainly fit, and they're very smooth and well balanced on a long throw. Microfiber, obviously everyone uses our microfiber on the long throws, super popular, right?
Yep.
Very similar profile and weight and balancing between these. So, and I don't know if you guys talked about the history, but when Meguiar's kind of brought DA polishing to paint instead of just sanding, but for finishing, we were originally using the big ol' honking pads that we used on rotaries.
Yeah.
And that was not optimal, and especially because those machines, as we've learned over time, when we originally partnered with Black & Decker, it didn't have the torque, it didn't have the power, and so rotation was you had to keep that thing perfectly flat and really get it cranked to keep the rotation. So that was, as Nick was saying, the torque on the MT300, people kind of underappreciate how much there is. I mean, you almost can't bog those things down. You got to legitimately seriously try it. I watched one of our trainers show what you could do with it if you want to burn through paint and be an idiot, and put it at max speed. It's crazy how much torque it has. But, it is a shorter throw. So, you learned all about that stuff and you understand the trade-offs there.
But a lot of times a shorter throw is an easier machine to learn on.
Yeah, and obviously our audience is very wide, right?
Yeah.
As Meguiar's, we're touching base with people who are for the first time buying a nice car and wanting to take care of it in the consumer shelf, all the way to servicing OEMs, automakers, paint manufacturers, dealerships, car washes, whatever. So this was, a tool that was really meant to kind of fit in a lot of different people's hands. It's small, it's very versatile in terms of the shape and the different, run a 3, 5, or a 6 it's appealing to a lot of people. And some people don't like how some of the longer throws just can't get into tight spaces or maybe struggle on a curve. You don't have that issue with that. But we're not even going to try and say that it's going to cut as fast.
Right.
But if you're taking care of your own car, I personally find myself reaching for that quite a bit. Now I've got 15s, 21s, I've got all the different machines available. I just kind of like the form factor and the fact that I can just get in anywhere with one setup.
A multi-tool approach is, we've always said, like, there's not one machine that's gonna be in your garage. That's gonna cover everything. A multi-tool approach is the best way to go.
And if you're a pro,
in my opinion,
a true pro
especially if
who's
you're a pro,
making a living, you're gonna want to have a long throw to be doing more. Efficiency, man. You're gonna save time. There's just no way around that, right? This is something that. For body shops where this is used as a final kind of detail cleanup. Let's say, your painter paints the car. Usually in most shops, the painter is the one that's going to then do the cut and buff on the car. Well, as we know in a lot of collision, it's volume's the name of the game. They're going to miss some edges and, this, that, and the other. The body man then puts the car back together. They scuff it up, mar it up. You could take a tool like this and then go over that quickly and one step clean it up. And so that's kind of a place that it's found a home.
Because what happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.